Good afternoon. The first gay marriage in the state of Utah could be performed at any minute in Salt Lake County.
This comes just hours after a federal judge ruled Utah's law banning gay marriage was unconstitutional. That law, Amendment 3 of the Utah Constitution, was on a statewide ballot in 2004. 66% of Utah voters supported defining marriage as a union between a man and a woman, making gay marriages against the law in our state.
Several gay couples filed a lawsuit challenging that amendment back in March after they were denied marriage licenses in Salt Lake County. Within the last hour, the Salt Lake County Clerk's Office issued a marriage license to two men. Sim Gill, the Salt Lake County Attorney General, looked over the ruling, gave the green light for the marriage to be performed.
Alex Cabrera was live at the clerk's office. Alex, this seemed to happen very fast.
That's right, Deanie. Within the last hour and a half, 4 marriage licenses have been issued to gay couples here at the Salt Lake County Clerk's Office. Equality Utah is here right now, getting ready to do a press conference to talk about this all. Let's go to these guys right now with Equality Utah and such. Guys, go ahead. Just what is your reaction to all of this? Yes.
We are thrilled that our federal courts have recognized that Utah's Amendment 3 is unconstitutional because it denies every individual's fundamental right to marry and because it demeans the dignity of same-sex relationships.
Your reaction, though, right away, I mean, as soon as this was issued, couples were here in line, ready to get that license because they're concerned this could be appealed and taken away.
Absolutely. I mean, it's possible that the state could seek a stay of the ruling, but the judge's decision was quite clear. Amendment 3 is unconstitutional. The state may not enforce it. And so the county clerks are issuing same-sex marriage licenses to same-sex couples right now.
So, sir,
is that legal? Are they legally married then?
Absolutely. It's pursuant to a federal court order.
So their paperwork is not just paperwork, they are married.
Yeah, when a federal court says that a state law is unconstitutional, it is. And he says the state can't enforce it, the state can't enforce it.
You started this lawsuit back in, March? Or when did you start?
We filed in March 25th, yes.
Tell me your reaction.
My reaction, actually, this is almost what I expected, because I was in the hearing, and I listened to the judge, and I listened to what he asked, and I read what everybody had submitted, and I knew he was going to make the right decision. Our case was very strong. Our law firm, our legal team was brilliant. They were passionate, and we told the truth. There are going to be a lot of people. Judge Shelby is going to get criticism. He's going to be called an activist judge. He's not. We did not ask Judge Shelby to bring same-sex marriage to Utah. We asked him to enforce the Constitution of the United States, and that is exactly what he did, and that cannot be appealed.
Is this history in the making?
This is history. We are the first of 30 states that have these horrible, hateful constitutional amendments. Judge Shelby has started this now, and it's going to overturn ours, and this is going to start a chain reaction. This is going to open the door and lead the way for 30 other states. This decision affects more than people in Utah. This is going to affect people in 30 states. Yes, this is historic.
That's right. I'm here with John Anderson, with Seth Anderson. You go with Seth Anderson, and as Michael Ferguson, you were the first couple here in Utah to get the marriage license. You came here as soon as you heard about this, didn't you, Seth?
Yeah, we did. We were working at our tea shop, and we got a call that said Judge Shelby had struck down Amendment 3, and if we wanted to be married in Utah today, go down now and get in line. And so we got in the car and rushed down here.
And Michael, you came here right away because you said earlier when I was chatting with you, you're concerned this could be taken away at any second.
It is going to be. We're told that within the hour that it's going to be slammed down, but that's just temporary. You can't stop fairness and equality from marching forward.
I know, and we were talking, it's just a piece of paper, but boy, it means so much more than that to you guys.
It's way more than just a piece of paper, absolutely.
But what does this mean to you today? I mean, it's been a long battle coming. I know you were plaintiffs in the lawsuit.
No, we weren't plaintiffs in the lawsuit, no.
You were the other one.
Our friends were.
Your friends were.
Yeah.
That's But still, it was a complete shock, wasn't it? I know you knew maybe the day would come at some point.
I was not expecting this.
Not today. Well, and with the case where it was, we were expecting a ruling, and we didn't know what the ruling would be, but in the next few weeks. And so that it happened today was a surprise, a very pleasant, happy surprise.
An amazing Christmas surprise, yeah.
What's the next step for you guys? You still have to go before a judge, correct?
No,
we're married. We're husbands.
You're set to go, because I see over here they are performing ceremonies.
They are. They're hurrying before the clock moves backward, before it inevitably moves forward again, yeah.
This is the certified copy.
That's the official marriage license right there from the state of Utah.
Yes, that's right.
Seeing the state of Utah, man, it's
amazing. all of us here today are pioneers, and the pioneering is still going on.
Okay, this is emotional.
Absolutely, absolutely. It still hasn't fully sunk in because it still is so surreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seth, Michael, thank you very much for your time, guys. I appreciate it. All right, Deanie, let's go back inside to you. They're excited. First couple in Utah to get a marriage license. 4 of them have officially been issued by the county here, and there are ceremonies here in the clerk's office downstairs in the county building as we speak. I mean,
well, Dave and Deanie, I just got back from his office moments ago, and what he told me is he never imagined when he woke up this morning this issue would come across his desk. He said that when the ruling came down, he and another colleague began reading it. They hadn't even gotten through the 50-page document when the Salt Lake County Clerk's office called, basically asking, what should we do? He advised them as basically as they have a client-lawyer relationship in that sense, that he represents them, and he told them to go ahead and issue the marriage license as if it was any other circumstance, a man and woman applying for it. And they said before they even were able to hang up the phone, somebody was already in line asking to get that marriage license, and of course they did grant it.
That's right, Deanie. I'm here with Reverend Curtis Price. He's with the First Baptist Church, and I gotta correct myself. I called you a judge earlier. Yeah. You're a pastor before me. Just dumb question by me, but you heard about this. You came down here right away, didn't you?
I did, absolutely. Our church and myself in particular have been involved in the LGBT community and the fight for marriage equality for quite a long time, and so I had to come down here and be a part of the celebration and join in, and there happened to be some folks that want to get married, so I jumped in there too and did that. You said you married one couple already, right? Yes. We did it right over here by the tree.
Yeah, Deanie, you just talked about and read the statement from the governor saying that he's very disappointed at the act of his federal judge, making this opinion. I just got out of the Attorney General's office. Right now, the word is they will appeal this judge's decision. They're writing up the appeal right now, and they're putting together the final language so they can proceed on this. They've already spoken with the attorneys that argued the case. They've spoken with the judge. The game plan is, since it's late on a Friday afternoon, they want to file the paperwork and ask the judge for a stay in the decision, an appeals judge for a stay in the decision. Whether that happens tonight or first thing Monday mornings, hard to say at this point, but bottom line, the state of Utah will appeal the decision that came down today. We hope to get a little bit more information here in just a little bit. The AG's office is still crafting a statement with the exact language on it, but we were just handed the governor's statement that you just read a minute ago. So this case is far from over.
Your reaction? You think they're going to be able to override this?
You mean the governor won't be sending a gift? I'm a little appalled.
You can't stop fairness and equality from marching forward.
The judges are simply acting like legislators.
Nothing quite matches what marriage is.
I think everybody should have the same opportunity, and love is love.
I respect the rights of others to do what they want, but I do believe that a man and a woman, that's marriage to me.
We're married! Michael Ferguson and Seth Anderson couldn't believe it when they heard the news.
Both of us just looked at each other and we were like, oh my gosh, what do we do? Do we go? Yeah, we're going. Okay, let's do this.
They rushed to the Salt Lake County Clerk's office, and in less than an hour after a federal judge's ruling, became the first same-sex couple to be issued a marriage license in the state of Utah.
Hopefully other people start showing up and get married while they can.
It's a tale of 2 counties. In one county, same-sex couples can be married. And in another, you get this letter.
We will continue at this time to issue a marriage license only to applicant couples, male and female, who appear together at the Utah County Clerk's office.
Terry and Penny were disappointed, but still snapped this photo of themselves holding the letter with smiles on their faces.
They didn't know what to do, and they've had time. They knew that this case was before the courts. They knew, and I felt like that they procrastinated, and they basically just pushed us off.
Even now, a KSL poll asks Utah voters, if a measure was on the ballot today, would you define marriages between one man and one woman? 58% say yes, 42% say no.
Reaction to a federal judge's decision to let same-sex marriages continue here in Utah, even as an appeal to a higher court continues. Today, Judge Robert Shelby denied the state's request for a stay to stop gay marriages here in Utah. Well, now the state is awaiting yet another stay request to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, which will also hear the larger appeal.
Tonight we have live team coverage. News specialist Haley Smith shows us how many couples are still lining up to tie the knot today. News specialist Sandra Yee tells us why, despite the ruling, some county clerk's offices are not issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples. But first, we're going to go to political specialist Richard Pyatt, who was in the courtroom this morning as this ruling happened.
We don't believe that our being able to be married takes anything away from anyone else. It's all about love.
I thought it was appropriate that we wait until we heard from the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals.
All counties in Utah are now issuing marriage license to same-sex couples, except for one, whose clerk is on vacation. Utah County had been facing a lawsuit over refusing to hand out licenses to gay couples immediately after a federal judge ruled Amendment 3 was unconstitutional. The couple behind that suit got their license in Utah County this morning and now say they likely won't pursue that lawsuit.
Big story today. Utah takes its fight against gay marriage to the U.S. Supreme Court. In papers filed today with Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the state asked her to overturn the court decisions that are allowing for same-sex marriages. News specialist Devin Dolan reporting on what appears to be a long and expensive fight ahead.
Hundreds of same-sex couples have received marriage licenses since the ban on gay marriage was overturned earlier this month. The Utah Attorney General asked the U.S. Supreme Court today to stop them while its appeal is pending.
I would say let's follow the ordinary processes. You know, this isn't the only case that's ever come along like this. It won't be the last one.
The fight over whether same-sex marriages in Utah should be stopped temporarily is now in the hands of U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Attorneys for the three couples who successfully sued Utah over Amendment 3 want the justice to deny a state request for a stay on gay marriages. They filed their formal motion today.
The whole idea that having gay marriage in Utah is an extraordinary, chaotic thing when it's going on in how many states now? 12, 18? It doesn't look so extraordinary.
Now, regardless of whether Sotomayor keeps this request herself or hands it off to the entire Supreme Court, Zimmerman said he expects a ruling to come down in a few days. Even if that ruling comes down, when that ruling comes down, it's clear the fight over this case is far from over.
Tonight, we have live team coverage. News specialist Haley Smith gets reaction from Utah State Senator Jim Debackus, who recently married his same-sex partner. News specialist Nkoyo Iyamba is live from the Capitol, where Utah's new Attorney General, you just saw him, Sean Reyes, held a news conference about today's decision. But first, we're going to go to news specialist Richard Pyatt, who spoke to one of the couples at the center of this court battle. Richard?
Well, Deanie and Mike, good afternoon to you. There's no question that the issuing of this stay is causing a lot of confusion in the community right now, not only in the same-sex or gay community, but in the wider community as well. But for those at the heart of this, it is extremely emotional, but the couple I talked to isn't discouraged.
Derek Kitchen and Moody Sabaity run a small business while they're in the middle of a legal whirlwind. But they're not complaining, committed to a battle over same-sex marriage no matter what happens. And this morning's ruling doesn't change that.
The emotion is kind of the micro view. You know, we're really emotional and kind of upset about it. But in the end, we didn't get into this case with the expectation that it would be resolved quickly. We had a hunch that it would take some time.
Like many same-sex couples, their initial reaction to the stay was surprise, tinged with anger and confusion. After that, a more confident attitude about the state of their case.
I think in the end we will win at the Supreme Court. And I think this is just a technicality.
A Supreme Court stay does put same-sex marriages on hold, but according to attorney Troy Boer, the action itself is not an indicator of where the case is headed, one way or the other.
There's almost no tea leaves in the Supreme Court's order from which you can make any inferences about what they're thinking.
So until the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals hears the case, March at the earliest, this still unmarried couple at the heart of the debate will stay in the limelight.
We don't mind being in the spotlight for the sake of everybody else. So it's not something we either enjoy or hate. It's just what has to be done.
So for now, this is just a waiting game for the state, for those who are on the state side in this case, for Derek and Moody, and for the more than 1,000 couples who have gotten married since December 20th. Mike Adini?
Yeah, everyone's waiting to see how this plays out. Thanks, Richard.
U.S. Supreme Court's ruling today means that going forward, there will be no new same-sex marriages in the state. But what does that mean for gay couples who have already been married here in Utah? And Koya Oyamba at the state capitol with reaction from the Attorney General's office. And Koya, what did you find out?
Mike, as you can imagine, this has been a roller coaster of emotions for both sides of the same-sex marriage issue. And here at the state capitol, Utah's Attorney General Sean Reyes says that's exactly what they were trying to avoid.
As to going forward, the stay restores us back to the position we were in prior to the district court's decision.
And that decision means gay couples in Utah are in legal limbo for now.
We don't know the answer yet, Ben, as to the marriages that have taken place already. There's no precedence, I believe, for this. And this is precisely the uncertainty we were hoping to avoid.
Just over 2 weeks ago, federal court judge Robert Shelby ruled Utah's Amendment 3 unconstitutional. Voters approved the measure by 66% in November 2004. Shelby's ruling made same-sex marriage legal in Utah, at least for that small window of time. And roughly 1,000 of Utah's 3,000 gay couples received marriage licenses then. That's according to Equality Utah. But now Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes says his office doesn't know where that leaves those couples.
It's unfortunate that many Utah citizens have been put into this legal limbo, but we're evaluating their legal status currently.
Our team coverage continues. Utah Senator Jim Dubakis was among the first to marry his same-sex partner in December. News specialist Haley Smith talked with the senator today and has more on his reaction to today's decision.
This is the order right here in my hand that was passed down by the Supreme Court today that put an end to any new same-sex marriages in the state of Utah. I went over it with Democratic Senator Jim Dubakis, and he says that putting a stop to marriage equality is not the answer or the message that the people of Utah should want to send.
I know we're a family value state, and it can't feel good to go, yeah, we just got rid of those families. We just told those children, you don't have a real family. It's not real. It's a kind of fake family.
You're watching KSL, Utah's source for news.
In the meantime, Amendment 3 is the law of the land, and it is my constitutional duty to enforce the laws of the land.
The state of Utah will not recognize the hundreds of same-sex marriages performed over the past 3 weeks. That announcement today from the governor and the attorney general.
And that news came in the form of a directive from the governor to all the state agencies.
Lawyers in both the governor and the attorney general's offices issued the response.
Political specialist Richard Pietz live at the Capitol right now with more on where that decision is coming from. Rich?
Well, that's right, Dave. The governor's directive today is basically based on the existence of Amendment 3, which narrowly defines a one-man, one-woman marriage in the state of Utah. The poll results show strong feelings on either side of this issue. 27% told our poll they strongly agree with Judge Robert Shelby's ruling. 46% say they strongly disagree. The bottom line for the majority of the people in our poll, they oppose same-sex marriage. At the same time, the majority of the people in our poll say they do support civil unions for same-sex couples, 57 to 34%. The poll finds that most Utahns would still vote for Amendment 3, but while 66% voted for it 10 years ago, that support has dwindled to 54% today.
Reaction this evening from the Utah Attorney General's office after the plaintiffs filed their legal response to the Amendment 3 appeal. Their brief claims the ban on same-sex marriage makes them legal strangers. News specialist Haley Smith joins us from the Capitol.
Lori Wood is a plaintiff in this case. She says this 118-page filing puts them one step closer to a decision. The plaintiffs had a midnight deadline to file their response to Utah's appeal. That filing says Utah treats same-sex couples as strangers rather than families, and that, quote, it demeans their deepest relationships and stigmatizes their children by communicating their families are second class.
This is an equality case, and that it's simply about people wanting the same sorts of rights and privileges and responsibilities and duties that other married couples want.
But a statement from the Attorney General's office today says, quote, the state's defense to retain the marriage definition that has been in place since the state's inception in no way expresses or promotes hatred to members of our society who prefer to define marriage by other standards.
And tonight, two of Utah's heaviest political hitters are back in Salt Lake City, but they could not escape some very direct questions about Amendment 3. Both Mitt Romney and former Governor Mike Leavitt addressed a large crowd at the Grand America tonight. News specialist Andrew Adams live outside the hotel this evening. Andrew, you knew that they would not be able to escape questions surrounding Amendment 3 here, but what was the real reason they were here tonight?
Yeah, Mike, well, this is for the Giant in Our City Award put on by the Salt Lake Chamber. And yeah, just so much big national and local news going on right now. Just so happen you happen to have a two-time presidential candidate here. You had a former Health and Human Services Secretary. And Amendment 3 is something that's on everybody's mind right now as it's passing through the 10th Circuit. I asked Mike Leavitt about that. He didn't want to make a prediction.
I'm sure one way or the other the decision will be appealed. There'll be other states who are doing a similar kind of thing. We're in a big public national discussion on this subject right now.
We likely won't know the outcome of today's appeal of Utah's Amendment 3 for at least 6 weeks. 3 federal judges from the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals heard arguments presented by both sides this morning. Political specialist Richard Pyatt was in the courtroom for the hearing and joins us now in Denver with what happened. Quite a day, Richard.
Deanie, one memorable moment in this hearing today came before the proceedings even started. Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes kneeling down before the plaintiffs to shake their hands and wish them well. It was an act of civility from his point of view that caught all of the plaintiffs by surprise.
No, I appreciate his outreach, and I don't fully understand his position.
While I may not understand exactly how they feel, I wanted them to know that I've tried to put myself in their shoes.
Far different points of view reflected in rigorous questioning from 3 federal appeals court judges. Those questions probed past case law, particularly last summer's U.S. Supreme Court ruling on U.S. v. Windsor, which struck down the Defense of Marriage Act. This is the first same-sex marriage case to reach a federal appellate court since that decision. Utah argued the ruling did not clearly open the door for challenge on Amendment 3.
Windsor left completely open the question of whether or not states retained the right to define marriage in the manner they see fit.
The plaintiffs used the same ruling to argue the state's definition of marriage is unconstitutional, and they cited legal animus in Amendment 3, or harm created by what they called a flawed law.
The only purpose of it was to exclude same-sex couples and treat them unequally.
After the hearing, relief and joy as the attorneys and plaintiffs emerged, each side declaring victory.
But to us, the compelling argument is that the states need to have the right to be able to determine things as fundamental as marriage as they have throughout time through the democratic process.
My gut feeling is that we are on the right side of history. I believe that our attorneys have put forth the strongest argument possible, and now we just need to wait for the decision to come down from the judges.
And again, it'll take weeks, potentially months, for that decision to come down from these 3 judges. And 1 week from today, the state of Oklahoma will be arguing a very similar case in this very courthouse. Reporting live from Denver, Richard Pyatt, KSL 5 News.
So now after a lot of buildup, we wait. Richard, great coverage all day. Thank you. Of course, we'll continue to follow this developing story right here on KSL. For all the latest on the Supreme Court stay, visit KSL.com and follow us on Twitter at KSL5TV.